Have you ever felt different from everyone around you? Like nobody really understands you? Like this world wasn't made for people like you? Let me tell you this. There was a boy in Seattle in 1955 who felt exactly the same way. His parents were so worried about him that they sent him to therapy. Teachers thought he was difficult. Other kids thought he was strange. But that boy didn't try to fit in. He didn't try to be normal. Instead, he focused on what he loved. And that decision changed the entire world. Today, that boy is known as Bill Gates, the man who put a computer on every desk, the man who gave away over $50 billion to save millions of lives, the man who committed his entire fortune, over $200 billion, to making the world better. Welcome to Fluent English with Redefining, where we bring you inspiring stories about success, personal growth, and financial wisdom. This isn't just another success story. This is about a man who went from being called weird to becoming one of the most important people in human history. A man who is now racing against time to give away everything he has before he dies. So if you're ready to be inspired, stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll never think about success the same way again. Chapter 1. The Foundation of a Misfit Genius. Seattle, 1955. A baby boy is born into a comfortable family. His father is a lawyer. His mother is a businesswoman. Everything looks perfect from the outside. But young Bill Gates is not like other children. While other kids play outside, Bill reads. He reads everything. By age 7, he has read the entire World Book Encyclopedia. His parents are amazed, but also worried. You see, Bill doesn't just read a lot, he becomes obsessed. When he's interested in something, nothing else exists. His mother calls it monomaniacal focus. Whatever you call it, it makes Bill different, very different. At school, Bill is bored. The lessons are too slow. The rules don't make sense. He starts arguing with teachers. He challenges everything. He refuses to do homework that seems pointless. His parents don't know what to do, so they make a decision. They send 13-year-old Bill to therapy. Now, imagine being 13 years old, already feeling different, already feeling misunderstood. And now, your own parents think something is wrong with you. Most kids would break. Most kids would try to change, try to be normal, but not Bill Gates. In those therapy sessions, something important happens. Bill learns that being different isn't a weakness, it's a superpower. His therapist helps him understand that his intense focus, his obsession, that's not a problem. That's his greatest strength. Bill later said in a 2025 interview, "Being different is not a weakness. It's a superpower of focus." Think about that for a moment. What if the thing that makes you weird is actually your greatest gift? Here's what really saved Bill Gates. At age 13, he discovers computers. Remember, this is 1968. Computers are huge. They fill entire rooms. Bill's school has just bought time on a computer, and Bill is fascinated. He starts learning programming. He teaches himself, hour after hour, day after day. While other kids are playing sports, Bill is typing code. His best friend, Paul Allen, joins him. Together, they spend every free moment programming. Bill's mother makes rules about computer time. But Bill can't stop. He sneaks out at night to use the computer. He even hacks the school system to give himself more time. This is the pattern that will define Bill Gates's life. When he finds something he loves, he goes all in. Completely. Totally. No half measures. Your obsession, your intense focus on something you love, that's not a problem. That's your power. The world will tell you to be balanced, to be normal. Bill Gates learned early, being normal means being average. Being different means having a chance to be extraordinary. Now I know what you're thinking. That's easy for Bill Gates to say. He was a genius. But here's the truth. Bill Gates wasn't special because he was smart. He was special because he found what he loved, and he didn't let anyone stop him from pursuing it. So ask yourself, what's your obsession? What's that thing you could do for hours without getting tired? Maybe that's not your problem. Maybe that's your superpower. Chapter 2. Betting on Harvard and Starting a Revolution. Bill Gates gets into Harvard University. For most people, this would be the dream come true. His parents are proud, but Bill Gates has other plans. At Harvard, Bill is bored again. He spends more time playing poker and programming than going to class. And then, in January 1975, everything changes. Paul Allen shows him a magazine. On the cover is the Altair 8800, the first personal computer kit. Bill sees it and immediately understands. This is the future. Personal computers are coming, and whoever writes software for them first will win. He calls the company that makes the Altair. He tells them he has a version of BASIC that works on their computer. Here's the thing, he's lying. He doesn't have it. He's never even seen an Altair 8800. But he knows he can build it. So Bill and Paul lock themselves in a room. They work day and night. They write code for a computer they don't have. 8 weeks later, they have it. And it works. Now comes the really hard part. Bill Gates has to make a choice. Stay at Harvard, finish his degree, make his parents happy, have a safe, secure future, or drop out, start a company, risk everything. Bill is 19 years old. Most 19-year-olds would play it safe. Yet Bill Gates knows that in technology, timing is everything. If he waits, someone else will do it first. So in 1975, Bill Gates drops out of Harvard. His parents are disappointed. His friends think he's crazy. He has no guarantee of success. He and Paul Allen start a company in a garage. They call it Microsoft. Micro for microcomputers. Soft for software. Those early years are brutal. They work 20-hour days. They sleep under their desks. They survive on pizza and Coca-Cola. And slowly, very slowly, Microsoft starts to grow. In those early years, Microsoft almost failed. Many times. There were moments when they almost ran out of money. But Bill Gates never gave up. Every failure taught him something. He later said, "Failure is a better teacher than success. There's no physical injury, only data to improve." Think about that. Failure isn't the end. It's information. It's data you can use to get better. In 1980, Microsoft gets the deal that changes everything. IBM needs an operating system for their new personal computer. Bill Gates doesn't have an operating system. However, he buys one called QDOS for $50,000. His team modifies it, and they license it to IBM. They call it MS-DOS. That's the genius move. Bill doesn't sell MS-DOS to IBM. He licenses it. Microsoft still owns it, and Microsoft can license it to other companies too. This one decision makes Bill Gates a billionaire. By the mid-1980s, MS-DOS is on millions of computers. Microsoft launches Windows, and suddenly, Bill Gates is no longer just a smart programmer. He's a business genius. Big opportunities don't wait for you to be ready. They don't wait for you to finish school. They don't wait for the perfect moment. When opportunity comes, you have to be brave enough to take it, even if you're scared, even if people think you're crazy. Bill Gates was 19 when he bet everything on Microsoft. He didn't wait until he was older, wiser, more experienced. He jumped. So ask yourself, what opportunity are you waiting to be ready for? What dream are you putting off until the right time? Maybe the right time is now. Maybe you'll never feel completely ready. Maybe that's okay. Because the people who change the world aren't the ones who wait until they're ready. They're the ones who start before they're ready and figure it out along the way. Chapter 3. The Tech Empire and the Battles. Bill Gates becomes the youngest self-made billionaire in history. He's only 31 years old. Microsoft is everywhere. Windows is on millions of computers. But with success comes new problems. The biggest battle is with Steve Jobs and Apple. In the early 1980s, Steve Jobs shows Bill Gates the new Macintosh computer. It has a graphical user interface, windows, icons, a mouse. It's revolutionary. The moment Bill sees it, he knows it will change everything. From that vision, Windows is born. When it launches in 1985, Steve Jobs is furious. He feels like Bill Gates stole his ideas. The two men fight for years. Steve Jobs says Microsoft has no taste. Bill Gates says Apple is too closed, too expensive. Both men are geniuses. Both believe they're right. Microsoft wins the business war. By the 1990s, Windows is on over 90% of computers. Apple nearly goes bankrupt. Bill Gates becomes not just rich, but incredibly powerful. Some people say too powerful. By the late 1990s, Microsoft is everywhere on almost every computer in the world. And in 1998, the US government takes notice. They sue Microsoft for being a monopoly, for crushing competitors. This is the darkest moment of Bill Gates's business career. The government wants to break up Microsoft, destroy everything he built. The case goes on for years. The stress is enormous. Finally, in 2001, Microsoft settles. They don't get broken up, but they have to change how they do business. Bill Gates learned something important from this experience. Being the most powerful doesn't mean being the most loved. He later reflected on his early management style. He admitted he was too harsh, too demanding, too aggressive. He said, "Manage others the way you manage yourself, but learn from therapy to be gentler." That therapy he went to as a teenager, he still thinks about those lessons, even decades later. During these years, Bill Gates also experiences personal loss. His mother, Mary Gates, dies of breast cancer in 1994. Bill is devastated. Before she died, she wrote him a letter. In it, she said, "From those to whom much is given, much is expected." Those words haunt Bill Gates. In a good way. His best friend from childhood, Kent Evans, died in a climbing accident when they were teenagers. His partner, Paul Allen, died in 2018 after battling cancer. Loss after loss. People he loved, gone. These losses change Bill Gates. They make him think about life differently, about what really matters, about what he wants his legacy to be. When you're young, you think success means winning, making money, building the biggest company, being the most powerful. But as you get older, as you lose people you love, you start to realize something. None of that matters if you don't use it for something good. None of that matters if you don't make a real difference in the world. And that realization leads Bill Gates to the biggest transformation of his life. Success in business isn't the same as success in life. You can win every battle and still lose what matters most. The way you treat people matters. The relationships you build matter. The impact you have beyond money matters. Bill Gates learned this through lawsuits, criticism, and losing people he loved. But he learned it, and it changed everything. Success isn't just about reaching the top. It's about who you become along the way, and who you help along the way. So take a moment to reflect. Are you so focused on winning that you're forgetting why you wanted to win in the first place? Chapter 4. The Turning Point, From Billionaire to World Savior. The year 2000. Bill Gates makes a decision that shocks the business world. He steps down as CEO of Microsoft, the company he built, the company that made him the richest man in the world. Why? Because Bill Gates has discovered something more important than building software. He's discovered that he can save lives. With his ex-wife Melinda, Bill creates the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. At first, it's just another charity, rich people giving away money. But then Bill does something different. He applies his obsessive focus to a new problem: global health. He starts reading about diseases, about poverty, about how millions of children die every year from diseases that are completely preventable. Malaria, a disease spread by mosquitoes. It kills a child every 2 minutes, mostly in Africa. Tuberculosis. We've had a cure since the 1940s, but it still kills over 1 million people a year. HIV/AIDS. Devastating communities around the world. And here's what makes Bill Gates angry, really angry. These diseases could be stopped. The technology exists. The medicine exists. But nobody is doing it because the people dying are poor. They can't pay. Bill Gates looks at this and thinks, this is a solvable problem. This is just like a software bug. So he starts spending money, not millions, billions. The Gates Foundation funds vaccine research. They buy mosquito nets for African villages. They build health clinics. They train healthcare workers. Bill doesn't just throw money at problems. He uses data, metrics, analysis, the same tools he used to build Microsoft. And it works. Between 2000 and 2025, the Gates Foundation's work has saved over 10 million lives. 10 million people who would have died are alive because of Bill Gates. But this transformation isn't easy. In 2021, after 27 years of marriage, Bill and Melinda divorce. The news shocks the world. For a man who likes to control everything, this is something he can't fix. Bill Gates is 70 years old now. He's at an age when most people are retired. But Bill Gates is just getting started on what he calls the third phase of his life. Phase 1 was building Microsoft. Phase 2 was starting the foundation. Phase 3? That's giving away everything before he dies. In his 2025 interview with Jay Shetty, Bill Gates said something profound. Parents love you unconditionally. Use your rebellious energy to pursue passion instead of fighting. He's talking about those teenage years, when he fought with his parents, when he went to therapy, when he felt like nobody understood him. Now, decades later, he realizes his parents loved him all along. They were just worried. And all that rebellious energy? He wishes he had channeled it into his passion sooner, into building, creating, solving problems. The people who love you, your parents, your family. They're not your enemies even when they don't understand you, even when they worry about you. One day they'll be gone, and you'll wish you had more time with them, so don't waste your energy fighting them. Use that energy to pursue what you love and to make them proud. Bill Gates learned this lesson late, but he learned it. Ask yourself, are you fighting the people who love you? Are you so busy proving you're right that you're forgetting they just want you to be happy? Maybe it's time to stop fighting and start building. Chapter 5, 2023 to 2025. The $200 billion commitment and the political storm. Let's talk about what Bill Gates is doing right now in 2023, 2024, and 2025. In 2023 alone, the Gates Foundation spent $8.6 billion fighting HIV, tuberculosis, and malaria, while also improving education and developing new vaccines. To put that in perspective, that's more than the entire GDP of some countries. Yet according to Gates himself, it's still not enough. In 2024, he published a stark warning about climate change causing 40 million children to suffer from malnutrition. This isn't some distant future problem. This is happening right now, today. That's why Bill Gates is pouring billions into climate solutions like clean energy, better farming techniques, and technologies to reduce carbon emissions. He even started a company called TerraPower, which is building next-generation nuclear reactors that offer safer, cleaner nuclear power to replace fossil fuels. Of course, people criticize him for this. They say billionaires shouldn't have this much power. Despite the criticism, Gates keeps moving forward because he believes the math is clear. We need clean energy, and we need it fast. Then in 2025, Bill Gates makes his biggest commitment yet. He announces that he will give away 99% of his remaining wealth, over $100 billion, and that the Gates Foundation will close its doors in 2045, just 20 years from now. You might wonder, why close it? Why not let it run forever? Bill Gates explains, we want to create fast impact, not build another permanent institution. He doesn't want the foundation to become slow and bureaucratic. Instead, he wants to spend all the money within his lifetime or shortly after so he can see the real impact of his work. This is classic Bill Gates, all in, no half measures, obsessive focus on results. However, this commitment brings him into conflict with someone unexpected, Elon Musk, now the richest person in the world and owner of Tesla, SpaceX, and Twitter. In 2025, Elon Musk begins advising the U.S. government to cut foreign aid and reduce funding to global health programs. Bill Gates speaks out strongly against these cuts, arguing that foreign aid saves lives and that vaccines are worth every penny. Elon Musk fires back on Twitter, claiming that aid is wasted and that private space exploration is more important than health programs in Africa. The two billionaires go back and forth, revealing something important. Even among the richest, most powerful people in the world, there are completely different ideas about what matters most. Bill Gates has given away over $50 billion and committed to giving away almost everything else. Elon Musk? He's given away less than 1% of his wealth. Who's right? That's for you to decide. What matters is what Bill Gates says about wealth in his 2025 interview. Wealth is illegitimate if you don't use it to save lives. Illegitimate, that's a strong word. He's not saying being rich is bad. He's saying that keeping all your money when people are dying from preventable diseases, that's wrong. He compares it to the golden rule. Treat others the way you want to be treated. If you were dying of malaria and someone had the money to save you, wouldn't you want them to help? Then, if you have money and someone else is dying, don't you have the same obligation? Bill Gates also talks extensively about AI and artificial intelligence. He believes AI is going to change everything by 2028. Jobs will disappear, new jobs will appear, education will transform, and healthcare will revolutionize. At the same time, he warns that we need ethical policies to make sure AI helps everyone, not just the rich. That's why he's investing in AI that helps farmers in poor countries, AI that helps doctors diagnose diseases, and AI that helps teachers personalize education. Not AI for self-driving luxury cars, AI for saving lives. Money is not the end goal. Money is a tool, and the real question is, what are you building with that tool? Are you building a bigger house for yourself, or are you building a better world for everyone? Now, I know what you're thinking. That's easy for Bill Gates to say. He has billions. Fair point. The truth is, you don't need billions to make a difference. You just need to start thinking beyond yourself. What if you gave 1% of your income to help someone? What if you volunteered 1 hour a week? What if you used your skills to solve a problem in your community? Bill Gates wishes he had started giving earlier, and he says the earlier you start giving, the bigger impact you can create over your lifetime. So don't wait until you're rich to start making a difference. Start now. Start small. Start somewhere. Because here's the secret Bill Gates learned. The more you give, the more your life has meaning. Success isn't about how much you have. It's about how much you give away. Chapter 6. Gates's definition of success. Impact, not legacy. So what is success? Ask most people and they'll say money, power, fame, a big house, financial freedom. Bill Gates has all of that. He's had it for decades. But here's what Bill Gates says success actually is. Success is not measured by your wealth. It's measured by the lives you improve and the planet you protect. Not by the size of your bank account, not by how famous you are, by the lives you improve, by the planet you protect. The richest self-made person in history is telling you that money doesn't define success. In his 2025 interview, Bill Gates said something even more interesting. We underestimate what we can do in 10 years. Real success is giving to create global equity, following the golden rule. Most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year. They set big goals, fail, and get discouraged. But they underestimate what they can do in 10 years, what they can become, what impact they can have. Bill Gates spent 10 years building Microsoft into a major company, then another 10 years making it dominant, then another 10 years starting the foundation, then another 10 years scaling it up. Each decade he completely transformed, and he's saying you can too. Not by doing everything at once, but by staying focused, by being patient, by thinking long-term. There's another part of his definition of success: global equity. Bill Gates doesn't just want to help a few people. He wants to create fairness, equal opportunity for everyone, everywhere. A child born in Africa should have the same chance to survive as a child born in America. That's equity. That's what Bill Gates is fighting for. And he's spending his entire fortune to make it happen. He's also very clear about his legacy, or rather his lack of legacy. Bill Gates is not leaving his fortune to his children. He's giving them each a few $1,000,000, enough to be comfortable, but not billions, not even hundreds of millions. Why? Because he doesn't believe in dynastic wealth. He doesn't believe children should inherit massive fortunes just because of who their parents are. He wants his children to create their own success, find their own purpose, make their own impact. Some people criticize him for this. They say family comes first. Bill Gates disagrees. He thinks giving his kids billions would rob them of motivation, of purpose, of the satisfaction of building something themselves. And here's what's interesting. His kids agree with him. They're proud of what their father is doing. That's real success. Not just making money, not just building a company, but raising children who want to make the world better. Bill Gates has faced criticism for his influence on global health policy. Some people say one person shouldn't have this much power. Bill Gates acknowledges this. He says it's a fair criticism, but he also says, if not him, then who? Governments aren't solving these problems fast enough. Most rich people aren't giving their money away. Someone has to act. So he acts. And he lets the results speak for themselves. 10 million lives saved. Diseases on the verge of eradication. Millions of children educated. Is it perfect? Number. Has he made mistakes? Yes. But is it better than doing nothing? Absolutely. In reflecting on his life at 70, Bill Gates talks about therapy again. He says, "Therapy taught me to keep my feet on the ground. Now at 70, I'm focused on the final third of my life, taking action, not waiting. Keep your feet on the ground, stay humble, stay grounded, and don't wait. Don't put off making a difference until someday. Someday might never come. Act now. Give now. Make an impact now." Real success isn't about what you achieve. It's about who you become and who you help. Bill Gates transformed from a difficult teenager to a business genius to a global philanthropist. He's still transforming, still growing, still learning. And if he can do it, you can too. You might not save 10 million lives, but you can save one life. You can help one person. You can make one part of the world better. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's what real success looks like. We've covered Bill Gates's entire life, from misfit teenager to the man who's giving away $200 billion. But here's the question. What does this mean for you? How can you apply these lessons to your life today? Let me give you 6 clear lessons from Bill Gates's story. 7 things you can start doing immediately. 1. Embrace your difference as a superpower. That thing that makes you weird, that obsession people don't understand, that's not your weakness. That's your strength. Bill Gates was sent to therapy because he was too focused. Now that focus has saved 10 million lives. Stop trying to be normal. Stop trying to fit in. Find what you love and go all in. Your difference is your advantage. Use it. 2. Failure is data, not the end. Bill Gates almost failed many times. Microsoft almost ran out of money. The government almost broke them up. But every failure taught him something. Every mistake made him stronger. So when you fail, and you will fail, don't see it as the end. See it as information. What did you learn? What can you do better next time? Failure isn't fatal. Giving up is. 3. Learn from loss to build resilience. Bill Gates lost his mother. He lost his childhood friend. He lost his business partner. He went through a painful divorce. Loss is part of life. You can't avoid it. But you can learn from it. You can let it make you bitter, or you can let it make you better. Bill Gates chose better. He took the pain of loss and used it as motivation to help others, to save lives. So when life hurts, you ask yourself, how can I use this pain for something good? 4. Give early to create big impact. Bill Gates wishes he started giving away money earlier. He spent 45 years building wealth. Now he's spending the rest of his life giving it away. But you don't have to wait 45 years. Give $1 today. Volunteer 1 hour this week. Help one person this month. The earlier you start giving, the more impact you'll create over your lifetime. And the more meaning your life will have. Don't wait until you're rich to start making a difference. Start now with what you have. 5. Manage yourself more gently. Bill Gates admits he was too harsh early in his career, too demanding, too aggressive. Therapy taught him to be gentler, to treat himself and others with more kindness. So here's the question. Are you being too hard on yourself? Are you beating yourself up over every mistake? Are you never satisfied? Maybe it's time to be gentler, to treat yourself the way you'd treat a good friend, with patience, with understanding, with compassion. You can still be ambitious, you can still work hard, but you don't have to be cruel to yourself to be successful. 6. Live by the golden rule for global equity. The golden rule: treat others the way you want to be treated. It's simple, it's ancient, and according to Bill Gates, it's the foundation of real success. If you want to be treated with respect, treat others with respect. If you want people to help you, help people when they're down. If you want to live in a fair world, help create a fair world. It means caring about people you've never met, people in countries you've never visited, people who can't do anything for you in return. Bill Gates says that's what real success looks like. So ask yourself, am I living by the golden rule? Am I treating others the way I want to be treated? If not, today is a good day to start. We've come to the end of Bill Gates's story, or at least to the end of this chapter, because Bill Gates is still going, still working, still giving, still trying to make the world better. At 70 years old, he's not slowing down, he's speeding up, because he knows time is running out. But here's what I want you to remember from this story. Bill Gates isn't special because he's a genius. He's not special because he's rich. Bill Gates is special because he found what he loved and he didn't let anything stop him. He's special because he transformed multiple times from programmer to businessman to philanthropist. He's special because he learned from his failures, from his losses, from his mistakes. He's special because he decided that success isn't about what you keep, it's about what you give away. And here's the beautiful truth. You can do the same. You don't need to be as smart as Bill Gates. You don't need to build a billion-dollar company. You just need to find what you love. Embrace what makes you different. Learn from your failures. Give what you can, one step at a time, one day at a time, one choice at a time. You could be the one who changes history. Not Bill Gates, not some famous person. You. Your story is still being written. Your impact is still being made. Your success is still being defined. So what will you do with this one life you have? Will you play it safe, fit in, follow the rules, or will you be brave, be different, take risks, and use whatever you achieve to make the world better? The choice is yours. But remember, one day you'll be 70 years old looking back on your life, and the question won't be, how much money did I make? The question will be, what difference did I make? Start answering that question today. This is Fluent English with Radio. Thank you for watching. If this story inspired you, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about success, personal growth, and financial wisdom. Until next time, stay inspired, stay curious, and most importantly, stay different, because different is where the magic happens.